so many leaders are talking about identity work, right? And it's interesting. I mean, it's like the next evolution of you, more so than identity, because here's the problem. If you really break apart the word identity, it's your id, which Freud talks about, the id, the ego, and the superego. So it's just an aspect of you. It's not all of you. An entity is a being that you don't even realize is entering your body. That is basically a shell of you. It's not you. So how I see a lot of where everyone is copying each other and talking about identity work and, you're ready for your next identity. No, it's basically what you're doing is you're bringing yourself home. I mean, if you are really, truly on a soul path, you are bringing yourself home to the true essence of your soul. And that essence doesn't have an identity. It has an evolution. You're not going to be the same person that you were born. If you're on a soul path, you're going to find out, different aspects of who your family is and who you are. But once you actually reach the essence level, there isn't an identity to take on. It's not like the poor version of you and the rich version of you, or the princess and the queen. Like, it's kind of delusional thinking, to be really honest. And if you take on one identity, that means at some other point you're going to take on another identity. So my question would be, will the real you please stand up? What we're working through in terms of layers of what they talk about, it's the masks that we keep putting on and we keep identifying with. When you really drop into your true essence and come home to the true essence of who you are, and like my experience of that for me is my wild orgasmic essence. Like, I love nature. I love being around the animals. It's challenging sometimes being around humans, because when you are your wild orgasmic self and you turn other people on, you're going to piss some people off. You're going to turn other people on. People are going to say things about you that they want to say. But to me, my wild orgasmic essence, and I feel like the wild orgasmic essence that all of us contain, is something that I really learned from the animal kingdom. From my horses, from my wolf dog, from my dachshund, from my horses and my wild mare. Like, you just be who you are. That's it. Like, you're not here to apologize to anybody else. You're not here to harm anybody else. You're not here to offend anybody else. But if people get offended, if people are still wearing masks and you can see through that shit and it makes them uncomfortable, that's actually not really your problem. And so a lot of what identity does is it puts us in the framework of, oh, well, if this is my identity, like, what's somebody else's identity? And who do I need to be in relationship to that? And what starts to happen is we build these false identities. We want to still fit in. We want to still, make people like us. Some of us don't give a shit about whether people like us or not. Our existence, after a while, when you start to understand your sovereignty, it's not that you have to be so independent that you don't get to interact with people. It's just simply that you realize no matter what, you're going to be okay. And sometimes being alone, instead of having to perform for people or having to please people or having to use the right language in certain circles so you fit in, who gives a shit? Sometimes you're so far ahead of the fucking crowd that you just keep being you. And what I found, for those people that are so far ahead of the crowd, so far ahead of the masses that are going to be leading the masses, is at some point they will have a part of themselves that has to have alone time. Because it is so easy in this world to get caught up. Even when you take on a new identity, right? You're still in a place of people pleasing on some level. And my experiences, my lived field experiences of being with animals, of coming into a relationship with them, thinking that I was training them, you know, they taught me the truth about how the energetics actually work. They taught me to come into a sense of authentic alpha that allowed me to be aware of correcting behaviors that are dangerous, especially if they weren't coming from a very aligned place. Like, you know, aggression in dogs can be really dangerous because somebody could get bit, somebody could get hurt. Somebody could even get killed if your dog is aggressive and they, you know, there's like a 3-strike rule in a lot of places. So it wasn't about necessarily controlling the dog. It was about helping them come back into alignment with their true nature. Because some dogs that are aggressive are fearful. Had nothing to do with aggression. They were exhibiting aggression, but they were fearful. So those dogs helped come back into alignment with, one, is anything wrong in your body? You know, is your fascia tissue tight anywhere? And 2, what are you scared of? And what do you need? Do you need me to be the presence that helps you feel like you are safe and you are protected? Do you need me to have you aware that I've got control of the situation so you don't have to? So it wasn't about understanding the dog's identity. Just like when I work with my clients, it's not about understanding my client's identity or where they're going, what's their next evolution in their identity. It's actually about bringing them back home to the core essence of who they are, and then helping release any distortions that they had experienced to being able to just be who they are. Because when you know who you are, whether it's an alpha or it's an omega, it doesn't matter. But you will naturally function in your highest orientation. You'll function in your highest ability and capacities once you're actually honest and authentic about who you actually are. A lot of times when trauma happens, it takes us out of knowing who we are. And we don't want to experience that again. So we become an identity that makes others feel safe, or, you know, doesn't challenge others, or makes us feel safe. Okay, I know my place, I know how to fit in. But that doesn't allow you to actually live your excellence. Because regardless of who or what you are, and you know, like in the dog training community, in any of the animal related communities, in human communities, we can label someone as a certain type, and that's okay if they are. And that's why I'm saying it doesn't matter who or what you are. It's, can you embody that in your naturalness, without distortions, with an orientation of functioning at your highest excellence? Because once you come home to that core essence of who you are, and you be the who you are, not try to take on another identity, that's when things really function well in people, in societies, in the world. Because you weren't made to take on identities. You were actually created to be your own wild orgasmic essence.